Hello, my name is Crystal Delatorre, and today I will be talking about the 1976 art piece Age of Catastrophe by Malcolm Morley, which can be found at the Broad Museum. Morley used traditional oil paint on canvas, and this worked well to his advantage in order to get vibrant colors and thick paint layers when going for an impasto look throughout the subject of the piece. Featured in this piece is a battered airplane crashing into two ships on the water, causing a fire. The scene is framed by a thick white, purple, and gold painted rim. Meanwhile, there's a military ship suspended by string tied onto two tree branches. The tree branches seem to be hanging above the airplane scene, and the suspended ship crosses into the white part of the frame. Morley created space and distance by having the ship hang below the scene into an area of the painting void of any subject, and having trees and a bird peek into the frame from above. This seemingly puts the crashing in the middle of the painting rather than in the foreground. With the background being darker in value, he used color and value to distinguish vehicles from the city and water. He also used value and color to support the large shape he had created by overlapping the plane above the ships. The similar values in the vehicles allow them to stand out together. He played with shape again by keeping the crash scene in a square shape with jagged edges. The thick application and texture of the paint helps add to the chaos happening in the scene. This is further supported when the main scene is contrasted by smooth, cleanly painted rims. The smooth painted frame helps create contrast against the rough, almost expressionistic paint application for the main scene in the middle, helping the colors, texture, and subject stand out more. The frame could easily be dismissed, however, it is essential to support Morley's message. Morley protects the frame from dismissal by having a suspended ship cross over between it and the crash scene, cementing its importance. Behind everything is a city reminiscent of New York, Morley's home in America. According to Malcolm Morley Itineraries on page 95, the airplane is actually a toy airplane. However, the impasto texture and real consequences of the crash disguise this. One of the most interesting parts of the painting is the ship suspended by string as a bird peacefully hangs on the branches, overlapping the scene. With these additions, Morley is blurring the lines of what the audience would be looking at if they were actually in the painting. It helps create a distance between the catastrophe scene and the viewer, as if the viewer was spectating from a tree further away or at home watching the television while playing with toys. Morley liked his work to be bunched up, and that is explicit in this painting, as almost everything is overlapping with something else. This piece was completed in 1976, in the same period as conceptual and activist art movements. I argue that this painting is contributing to both of those movements in a similar manner as Hans Hack. Chaos and reaction to chaos is the concept of the piece. The bunched-up composition, jagged edges, and rough texture all help further push the implied chaos of a plane crashing into ships causing a fire. The implied space created by the tree branch is representative of the distance people often like to create away from a tragic event. More specifically, Morley is commenting on the anxiety-inducing state of the country at the time, showcasing what it must have felt like to live through that era. This likely would have resonated with the audience of the time, since these were some of the most stressful times in history due to multiple reasons. The title Age of Catastrophe is a fitting name for the years that had preceded this piece. In 1976, it had only been 3 years after the Vietnam War and 1 year after all the troops were recovered from Vietnam. By this point, John F. Kennedy and Martin Luther King Jr. had been assassinated only a few years prior, and the Watergate scandal had taken place and led to the president's resignation. Amidst all this, 1976 is also in the middle of the Cold War, a time where many were stressed about and prepared for a nuclear attack. All of this political chaos surely fed into the artwork. Morley had been homeless due to bombings in London in World War II, so I would not be surprised if he, like many others, took issue with the government's decisions at the time, leading to this art piece. Thank you for listening.